Hello everyone, we're going to go live here in just a bit. Going to hold off for a minute or two while people file in. Single file. So we got CME futures coming up. We're going to talk about a couple altcoins first to start. We got a half an hour until the CME goes live. So we're going to talk about some altcoins first. Going to talk about how I'm using some experience with the stock market to prepare for events like this. And then we will talk a little bit about CBOE versus CME. And then we'll get into a bit of our game plan and my game plan as to what I am looking to do heading into 6 p.m. Eastern. So let's see where everybody's from here. And the altcoins we're going to be looking at are XRP, XMR, IoT, and OMG. There's a lot of action in this altcoin space. Even these little coins like Golem that I am holding, hitting the highest price in 5 months and now just looking at the all-time high. So we got France, Hawaii, BC, Spain, Minnesota, Atlanta, Ireland, Florida, Colorado, California, Berlin, Vancouver, Swiss, UK, Atlanta, Tennessee, Dallas, a lot of Georgia coming in, Holland. Very cool. Miami. I'm heading to Miami in a month. Flat Earth. Estonia. 2 Estonias. Belgium, Netherlands, Rhode Island, Atlanta. Very cool. All right. We got enough people. Let's get going. Let's start it off with just some analysis on these altcoins because there's a ton of opportunity in these altcoins, and I cannot wait until Coinbase adds more coins. More coins equals more fun, more opportunity. So XRP, weekly time frame, very clearly all-time highs, bulls in full control. A little bit of a zoom in on the daily time frame tells us that there's healthy consolidation going on right now. Although we did just break the inside bar bearish on the daily time frame, you can see we had an inside bar and an inside bar, and the break of 707 is bearish. And I'm looking at all these altcoins on Bitfinex, but it is still healthy consolidation. And I say healthy because the volume is declining. It is contained considering where we came from. You know, if we were dumping down on high bear volume back to the 40s, that would be that would not be healthy consolidation. That would be unhealthy consolidation. So looking at the 4-hour time frame, look how contained that is. That is the definition, in my opinion, of healthy consolidation. You could call this a bull flag of just a brief pullback, cooling off RSI levels. The volume is dropping off. Keep an eye out for a volume spike. There's going to be a volume spike when this tight pattern breaks. I'm looking at support right now of 695, and I'm rounding a bit, but 695, and then from there I'm looking down at 6122, the lowest price of that initial consolidation. In terms of resistance, you can see we're forming multiple 4-hour inside bars right now. So the alert system would send out an alert when the inside bars do break. And that's what we're looking for on this 4-hour time frame. The bulls want to see a break of 729. And then I would be looking up at resistance of 761 and 815. But 815 is the clear resistance that I would be watching, because if that breaks, the odds that we head back towards the all-time high are very likely. So healthy consolidation right now, no red flags. If we see a bear break of these 4-hour inside bars and a spike up in bear volume, then we know consolidation is still ongoing and we need to be patient and wait for our bottom to be established. So a bear break of the 4-hour inside bar, and we're looking down at 6122 support. Zooming in on the hourly time frame, we can see just how tight we are with clear lower highs. Look how many lower highs we have here. And I'm going to throw a lot of lines up here, but just every single place that I'm putting a line is a lower high where the bulls tried to bounce and they were rejected, and it's just lower high, all the way down. And a little bit of those are in some rough places, but just every single time we see a bounce attempt and a rejection, we are looking at another lower high that is going to clearly break when the bulls take it back in control. So 735 is a level that stands out on the shorter term time frames. The bulls are trying to see an hourly bull MACD cross go through, but really just the 4-hour inside bars are so tight that we can look for that break to occur sometime in the near future. XMR USD, how about that weekly chart? That is absolute insanity, where we have now gone hundreds of % in the last 6 weeks. Bull volume is certainly there to back up the move. We zoom into the daily chart and can see that we're just setting higher lows and higher highs on the way up. The most recent daily support is down here at 280.75, and our all-time high is up at 359.70. We're still right on the verge of that all-time high, so the bulls are still in full control, and the 4-hour time frame just established a base of support that the bulls need to hold to remain in full control at 329.90. If 329.90 breaks, we are going to enter further consolidation, but at this point it is holding and it's just another higher low, and the bulls are right now making their way back to that all-time high. So very bullish chart still. I would personally be out of a midterm swing position or a short-term day trading position if we were to break 329.90. So those are some key levels. Zooming in on the hourly, nice V-shaped bounce right now, defending that support and very little resistance to that all-time high. XMR still looking good, although we will likely need to form an hourly higher low before we get a new all-time high. I don't expect to just make a V-shaped recovery straight to an all-time high unless we see some big volume to back that up. Looking at IOT USD, inside bar forming on the weekly time frame, consolidating after the big breakout. This is healthy consolidation as well. Look at these inside bars forming. Tighter and tighter. And again, I cannot stress enough how useful these inside bars are. Just to play on the hourly and 4-hour time frame, the most, in my opinion, those are the most beneficial. But the pattern right now, 340 would be a bear break of the inside bar, and 404 would be a bull break. And if you are struggling with what inside bars are, check on the YouTube channel. Under the trading lessons playlist, there is a lesson on inside bars to check out. So watching for a break of these daily inside bars, and we can see the 4-hour time frame is just getting tighter and tighter, waiting for that clear break. So I personally, if I were in this name or looking to get in this name, I would only be watching these daily inside bars. Keep it simple, and they're giving us clear levels. So if we get that bull break, that would be an entry signal, and if we get a bear break, that means back off. We are still consolidating, and we're looking down at 303 support if we get a bear break of the daily inside bars. OMG, also extremely strong on the weekly time frame, up at the all-time highs. The daily chart is seeing the all-time high today with an upper wick of profit taking. So we want more details. We look at the 4-hour chart and say, what does this consolidation look like? And at this point, it is healthy. We hit the all-time high. That's a new resistance at 1760. And we're now looking to form a higher low anywhere above the low of the last consolidation. That's down at 1320. Anything above 1320 is a higher low, keeping those bulls in control. We look at the hourly time frame, nice and contained, no big bear volume. We have declining bear volume on this pullback. We're looking for a higher low to be established. Right now, there's a lot of action in the 1560s. Bulls would love to hold that 1560 level, and we will see if we can hold that support and turn things around and head back up towards the all-time high. So these 4 names have all run very significantly, but they're all seeing very healthy consolidation, which is the difference between, a pump and dump on a rumor or something like that. These moves have volume to back them up. So we are watching very closely for, signs of dumping or big bear volume, but we don't have them at this point. And this is the strongest that we've seen the alt market in quite some time. And a lot of that has to do with the rumors on who is going to be added to Coinbase. A lot of speculation. People don't have an answer. Everybody's guessing, and that's fine. But you have to keep that in mind that when we do get the first announcement of the list of coins that will be added to Coinbase next, if these coins that are running in anticipation of that are not on the list, they will dump. And the names that are on the list will see some further upside, of course. So that's what we're looking at for the big 3, or I should say for the altcoins. Now let's get to the big 3. First, I want to talk a little bit about my game plan and what experience that I'm bringing into this game right now, heading into this CME. So I'm looking at the reaction that stocks normally have to stock earnings. And what I usually look for as we have earnings, let's say Tesla has earnings at the end of the day today, and the stock is running up into the end of the day from 2 p.m. The market closes at 4 p.m. So let's say it starts running up at 2 p.m. and then at 3 p.m., 3:15 p.m., it's still very strong and we've been running and we're overextended. I then look to go bearish heading in the last half an hour of the day to look for profit taking. So if we were to have seen bullish action in Bitcoin heading into this decision, which we have seen some pretty bullish action over the last couple of days, that is a bit of a red flag to me, because what it tells us is that the market is pricing in this move. Look at the daily time frame. What happened the last time we had the CBOE futures go live? We had consolidated 2 days before. We were pulling back. The market was taking profit, scared, seeing a little bit of fear heading into these futures, and then we know that we had a bullish reaction. So everybody right now over the past few days is saying, okay, we had a bullish reaction to the CBOE. I want to get into Bitcoin for the CME futures, looking for the same kind of bullish reaction. That's why we have the complete opposite 2 days leading into these futures. We have bullish action and all-time highs up here because this is the market saying, it was bullish last time. I'm expecting it to be bullish again. And we have to be cautious because if it is not bullish, it entirely could be, and we could head to 20,000 here on GDAX. But if it is not, we're going to see people take profit because the market is pricing in a bullish reaction to these CME earnings. The difference between CBOE futures and CME futures are the players that are going to be playing each market. CBOE is for more retail traders. Retail is you and me and, mom and pop, people that are not playing with multiple millions of dollars. And that is because the contract size is smaller. For CBOE, one contract equals 1 Bitcoin. For CME, it is more for institutional traders that have big money, and one contract equals 5 Bitcoin. So it is 5 times expensive in terms of looking to make that play. And it is also a lot less fees. If I'm a big whale and I want to play, 5 Bitcoin contracts, if I'm on the CBOE, I have to pay 5 times as many fees to buy 5 individual contracts. If I'm on the CME, I pay 1 fee to buy 1 contract worth 5 Bitcoin. So that's the distinct separation between the two, retail versus institutional. And we're going to see what institutional investors think heading into tonight and tomorrow based on what these futures do. So let's look back at a bit of history. So technical analysis uses a ton of history to look at what to anticipate into the future. So heading into the CBOE, we had an initial bear move breaking support. We had a double bottom, 14,800, 14,800, 14,810. So we had almost a triple bottom down here, and we had a flush first thing, and that triggered some stops, and then we rocketed to the upside. Personally, my strategy back then was very aggressive, and I'm going to be aggressive again today, and that is because things have been going really well, and I have a lot of profit cushion, and if I take a loss, I will keep my loss small. I will exit for that loss very quickly, and I want to give myself the opportunity to see this kind of action, because back on the CBOE, I made an entry, I sold $1,000 profit in terms of Bitcoin movement, and then I rebought, and then we rode it up overnight. So that was a huge trade and a huge day, and I want to give myself the opportunity to do that, so I'm going to be a little bit more high risk, make an entry, although right now, I'll go into that in just a bit, but look to be playing and exit if things turn around. I am well aware of the difference of the setup. Rather than pulling back for days, we have been running for days. That is market anticipation already being priced in. I know I just said that, but I'm trying to drive this point home that it is a completely different market as we head into this event than it was last time. We cannot anticipate the same thing is going to happen. It would be great if it did. We are on the verge of all-time highs. Last time we were not. So even with the bullish reaction, we didn't hit blue sky breakout. We are looking for a blue sky breakout if it is a bullish reaction, and we could very easily run $1,000 if that is the case. So obviously I want to give myself a positioning to potentially benefit from that. As far as what Ethereum and Litecoin are going to do, no one knows the answer. That's a very tricky question because they have been varying back and forth with the correlations over the past week. We have seen Bitcoin and Litecoin correlate to each other more so than all of the big three correlating, and more so than Bitcoin and Ethereum correlating. So if we were going to see some significant action in Bitcoin and a correlation to it, I would look for Litecoin to be potentially in the same, a direct correlation, not inverse. There is a possibility if Bitcoin does dump that we do see money leave Bitcoin and go right into Litecoin and Ethereum. Litecoin and Ethereum have good setups right now. I've been watching some really nice setups on Litecoin the past 2 days, and I've been trading Litecoin the past 2 days, and I currently have a Litecoin position. So let's just go into the big three right now. That's the setup. We've got 17 minutes to go here. And again, we see knee-jerk reactions. I compare it to the FOMC. If you're a stock trader, you know the FOMC is when the Federal Reserve comes out and gives their monetary policy and outlook on the future. The market usually sees a significant reaction as soon as that occurs, and oftentimes we get a knee-jerk reaction where we see, just like Bitcoin did, a bear break or a bull break instantly followed by a complete 180 turnaround. So support levels and stop levels get triggered often because of that little fake out and knee-jerk reaction. So we cannot anticipate that the first 5 minutes of action is going to dictate which direction we're headed. We can very easily go down for 5 minutes and then rocket up, or rocket up for 5 minutes and then see a significant sell-off. We have to be cautious. And again, we must protect our positions have a stop level. It doesn't have to be based off support in this kind of situation. It can be based off a dollar amount, saying I don't want to risk more than X amount of dollars because I know that I can easily make that amount back in one bullish trade, and it would be very easy of a loss to shake off. The last thing I want to do is get stuck in Bitcoin and see it drop $1,000. That's going to take a lot more to get back. So let's now look at the big three and our current setup. So Bitcoin is right here at all-time highs and very strong still. So there's one thing I'm keeping an eye on, and it's on the hourly time frame, and it's the potential for a bearish reversal head and shoulders pattern. It hasn't followed through yet. It will not be confirmed unless we break this neckline. Let me draw it out. We got our left shoulder, our head, and our potential right shoulder. Because we're up at the high of this move, bulls are not worried about this right now. We're coming up to that all-time high, 19,892. And the big move would obviously be if we break 20,000 on Bitcoin. If we break 20,000, there's going to be some nice stop buys triggered, and we're going to see a lot of bull momentum and, of course, a lack of resistance. We could very easily move $500 in, 5-10 minutes if we get a bullish reaction. So right now, if we were to pull back without getting an all-time high and head back down to our key support level, down here, the neckline, that's down there at 19,127. If we do not get an all-time high and we break 19,127, it is a reversal in trend. We go from higher lows and higher highs over the past 2 days to then forming a lower high and a lower low again if we were to break that neckline. I'm not saying it's going to happen. It's a pattern I'm keeping an eye on, and if that does occur, I will know to be very cautious for a significant pullback. And of course, if we get the new all-time high, bulls are not out of the woods yet. It's that 20,000 level. There's going to be a lot of coins stacked up at that level, and if they get eaten, then we are going to be looking for some continuation and all-time highs. I've got a tricky situation right now because I'm in a Litecoin position. Let's go to Litecoin next. I entered it early today. I've been on the road all day today, and it's a tricky position because the trade is going exactly as I want it to, and I'm up profitable, and I can easily set a break-even stop with where we stand right now. The problem is, for me, I'm going to have to make a quick decision in the first 5 minutes of the reaction of where I want to be. Do I want to ride this out with Litecoin? Because Litecoin's risk to reward in terms of volatility and percentage moves are significantly bigger, and I think that if Litecoin and Bitcoin were going to both correlate in bullish reactions, I would rather be in Litecoin just because of that price action and how a little volume goes a long way. If, however, we see an inverse correlation, I would want to sell Litecoin very quickly and jump right into Bitcoin on a break of 20,000. So if Litecoin doesn't do anything bullish and Bitcoin's going to break 20,000, I'm going to make a quick switch and jump into Bitcoin. If everything dumps, I'm going to go back to all cash and patiently wait for oversold bounces. Otherwise, I am going to ideally stay in this position because I really like the way that this 4-hour chart looks. Look at the bullish MACD on Litecoin's 4-hour. We know that bullish MACD has been a great indicator time and time again, and we are on the verge of this bull cross. If we see a break of 337.87, which is the highest price we've seen on this move, we're going to be looking at the next level of 354.94. That's a very significant gain. I would love if we could get up to that level today. That would be a week maker for me. So I'm holding on to my position. We have a low of support down here at 318.60. We're watching for that level to hold ideally, and we're looking for this 4-hour chart to continue changing the trend to higher lows and higher highs after all of this consolidation. So I really like the positioning for Litecoin, but I've liked the positioning for Litecoin in the past here over the past couple days, and there have been instances where Bitcoin has spoiled the party because it's been running at all-time highs and money shifts over to Bitcoin when it steals attention like that. So I'm going to have to make a quick decision. We're going to see how it's going to go, and I'm going to be protective more so than anything else. Hourly bull MACD cross and 4-hour bull MACD cross are both ready to go here on Litecoin, and we just need this break of 334.87 to be looking really good. When the action starts going here in just about 12 minutes, I'm going to do my best to commentate as it goes on and talk about what I'm doing, but I'm obviously going to put my trading as a priority and make sure that I'm focused and not pressing wrong buttons and wrong numbers and things and scaling out or scaling in depending. And another point, there's probably a 12-second delay or so on this stream right now, so be aware of that as well. 12 seconds doesn't seem like a lot, but when you are looking at, seconds making all the difference, it definitely plays a little bit of a part, so keep that in mind. Checking in on Ethereum as we head into this reaction. The bulls are in control here as well. The daily chart's looking good. We have our high and our low established. The bulls are heading back up towards the all-time high. So looking at the 4-hour time frame, Same thing as Litecoin, very similar pattern, higher lows and higher highs on the 4-hour chart. And zooming in for more details, the hourly chart just hit some new higher highs. We're trying to find a higher low of support compared to this base of 729.34. Resistance right now is 746.93, and that's the current channel that we are in. If we break 746.93, the next resistance that we're looking up at is at 753.59 and 758. There's not a lot of resistance until the all-time high. I'm looking at some resistance in the 750s and then the all-time high of 784.77. For Litecoin on the 4-hour time frame, same thing. It has a little bit more work to do to get to that all-time high. It would have to see a huge move to get to the all-time high. In my opinion, Ethereum is going to see an all-time high before Litecoin if they are correlated together. I do expect Ethereum and Litecoin to be correlated in this reaction in 10 minutes because they are in a grouping as not Bitcoin. We have Bitcoin, which has the futures, and these other two are not Bitcoin. So if we see a dump in Bitcoin and money shift into these other two, they're likely going to run together, and Ethereum is likely going to be closer to an all-time high. So resistance again for Litecoin, if we see that break of 334.87 that I'm looking for, big space up to 354.94, and all about volume. Keep an eye on that volume. Watch which direction that volume is coming in. 5-minute time frame looks like some bullish anticipation. Nice. So look at these complete differences right now. Ethereum is selling off heading into the CME futures, and Litecoin is running a bit. So maybe we're not going to be correlated with those two. Again, it all depends on how these 5-minute charts go. And actually, I'm actually going to zoom into the 2-minute chart for this reaction. And I did that the last time. It gives a little bit more detail, a little bit faster reaction to things. And I do like the 2-minute time frame for these high volume reaction to news events. So you can see Bitcoin has been bullish. We're seeing a little bit of profit taking on Bitcoin as we head into the CMEs here. And again, we got 9 minutes left. So making sure I've got my orders all set, ready to go. I've got a stop loss in on Litecoin. And I'm probably going to leave that stop loss. And then if it triggers and stops me out, then I'll shift right over to watching Bitcoin. So just resetting a stop, moving up my stop a little bit here, a little bit more than break even. So worst case scenario, I'll make some profit on the day if I get stopped out of my Litecoin position, and then we'll take it from there. So everybody take some deep breaths. And again, if you're not comfortable trading and you're just learning technical analysis, don't try and trade this move. There's no reason to force anything here. You can wait until things settle down for 5-10 minutes and then get a lot more clarity in terms of price action. The highest risk and highest reward trades are going to be made in the first 5 minutes reacting at 6 p.m. Eastern. So we have to keep that in mind. And another thing is I'm not going to be greedy here. I am going to scale out in a profitable position if we get the bull breaks that I'm looking for, and then I can always re-enter later if it looks like we're going to see the bulls run overnight. So everybody be cautious, have a stop level already set. We're not going into this event and going to just play it on the fly, and then if things start to dump, we're going to be panicking and making the decision on the fly. Should I sell, or how should I do this? So our game plans are established right now, and if you want to write it down on a piece of paper so you can look down at it in the heat of the moment and write yourself some reminders, don't panic, no FOMO, things like that. Always a good reminder to have when we have some high stress situations. We're going to clean some things up. Not really interested in the altcoins right now. If you have altcoin positions, you certainly want to be watching what they are doing comparative to Bitcoin. So the Bitcoin bulls are holding on pretty well right now. We're not seeing a whole lot of profit taking. And look at Ethereum. People are definitely leaving Ethereum right now. Litecoin and Bitcoin are in a more bullish setup currently. So patiently waiting, we got 5 minutes to go. Indicators can go more extreme in these scenarios. So, the 5-minute RSI on a dump could, hitting 30 doesn't mean time to buy. We could very easily go into the teens or even the single digits because we're going to see such an influx of volume. And same thing in the opposite direction. Of course, the bulls could see the RSI very easily go into the 80s or 90s with the right kind of volume behind it. So Bitcoin seeing a little bit more profit taking. Litecoin not directly correlated just yet. And Ethereum is the lead bear over the last, over the last hour or so. That's another point. Thank you for pointing that out, Mark Cannon. Exchanges are going to lag up. We know that. It's happened time and time again. We're going to see high volume, high transactions. A lot of people are on these sites right now. If we are getting laggy scenarios, we do not want to be forcing trades. There is nothing worse than having an order on GDAX sit there pending as things dump. I personally, that's why I have my stop loss already in place, so it will trigger without me having to do anything if these exchanges, lag up or shut down or lock us out. And if that happens, I'm going to be done trading. I'm not going to force anything under that scenario. Trading is difficult enough as it is. To have exchanges making things more difficult by not having technology up to speed, we don't want to be adding that into the mix, really, in terms of stacking the odds against us even further in that scenario. So definitely want to keep an eye on what the futures are doing, but personally, I'm only interested in what the underlying is doing in the heat of the moment. So let's get going. Couple more minutes here. Nice to see everybody. Almost 1,000 people now. That's certainly a record. Lack of volume on Litecoin. If it's a bullish reaction to Bitcoin, we will break 20,000. And if it's a bearish reaction, we're watching that neckline level on the hourly of that potential head and shoulders, 19,127. And in my opinion, someone is going to come out on top in terms of, I doubt all three names are going to dump. I feel if Bitcoin does dump, that we will see money go elsewhere because we certainly have bullish chart setups in these other names as well. So we got a couple minutes to go. I'm just going to be going back and forth with Litecoin and Bitcoin charts. And I'm actually going to pull up another chart on my other monitor so I can be watching both at the same time. I'll put Bitcoin up for you guys and I'll keep Litecoin on mine. All right, let's do it. Ethereum seeing a little bit of a bounce and recovery. Volume's going to be very indicative here. If we see, a first 2-minute bear candle, and then we see bull volume far outweigh that bear volume, it certainly is telling. Let's see if Bitcoin bulls are heading back to the high, and even if we break to a higher high here, again, bulls are not out of the woods. It's about 20,000, and so far we've got a non-event. By now, for the CBOE futures, things were already going pretty wild. So there's no dump right now. That's a good sign for the bulls, but also not a ton of bull action. So it is entirely possible this is a non-event. We'll see in the next 10 minutes, and if, nothing's going on in terms of volume, that'll be that, and I'll just stick with my Litecoin position. But yeah, I'm very surprised right now in the first couple minutes that this is the reaction. Very, very contained comparatively to the CBOE. And the volume's just not there. You can see the volume leading up to 6 p.m. much more significant than the volume we've got right now. So I'm only going to sit with this for about 5-10 more minutes. Then that'll be that. Ethereum is the clear lead bear. All right, so here's some volume. Have to be cautious. It's for the bears at this point. The low heading into 6 p.m. was 19,573. Bulls want to hold that. Looks like we have direct correlations between the big three right now. Lower low on Bitcoin, so there's definitely a bit of profit taking, not a bullish reaction so far. And Litecoin and Ethereum being dragged down as well. So not a bullish reaction first thing. It's not game over for the bulls, but we do have to be cautious. Big wall of resistance on Litecoin at 328 in the 328s. And there goes Bitcoin dumping. So let's see if we can get some oversold bounces. I'm going to the 5-minute to look at the RSI. We're nowhere near 5-minute RSI oversold, and we're nowhere near 15-minute RSI oversold. So that's a lot of bear volume. Litecoin being dragged along and Ethereum heading down to the lows. So all bear first thing here. And we just pulled back $300, $400 so far. Bitcoin 5-minute RSI is still not oversold, getting a bit closer. Support is down again, that neckline, 19,127. Litecoin has a little bit of bid support building, not a lot of resistance on the ask. Pretty decent positioning on Litecoin comparatively. And Ethereum is currently still holding the lows. Bitcoin's not done yet. We haven't hit a bottom yet. That Litecoin wall on GDAX that I was talking about has moved. Litecoin seeing a little bit of a bounce. Completely different scenario in terms of what we're seeing with Bitcoin at this point. Ethereum's dumping to lower lows, so Ethereum, the clear lead bear, is seeing continuation down. 5-minute RSI on Bitcoin still not oversold as we head down to 19,127 key support. Ethereum is dumping. 5-minute RSI close to oversold on Ethereum. The 15-minute RSI has a long way to go. It would be in the 17s before that 15-minute RSI were oversold. Bounce attempt for the Bitcoin bulls, currently holding 19,127 support. Bulls want to see solid volume behind this candlestick comparatively to the bear volume on the way down. Litecoin still holding on much better than Bitcoin. So Litecoin right now is the lead bull in terms of holding on and not dumping. But Ethereum and Bitcoin are seeing a bit of a bounce. 5-minute bullish reversal candlestick trying to form on Ethereum. 5-minute bullish reversal candlestick trying to form on Bitcoin. Here comes Litecoin. So Litecoin, Bitcoin, then Ethereum is current ranking of strength. And this volume, I can already tell that this bull volume for Bitcoin is going to be far more significant than the bear volume. Look at the volume here. We've got 483 on the way down, and we've got 333 on the way up right now, and we're 1 minute into this candlestick. We're going to see far more volume this 5-minute candlestick than we just saw. This is a good sign for the bulls. Let's see if they can head back to the levels before here, but we already got Litecoin heading back up. But that volume is notable, favoring the bulls at this point, but they need to make their way back up to the 19,700s. So this volume, again, is a good sign for the bulls at this point. That is a clue. Litecoin does not have the same significantly more bullish volume setup on the 5-minute time frame, although it's fairly close. And Ethereum seeing its bounce play out. So this is nice and contained action. At least we're not all over the place in terms of volatility and fake outs and all that. Not a ton of volume coming in. And it looks like Bitcoin running into a bit of a wall. Hasn't moved much. That volume sure slowed down, but we still have 2.5 minutes on this candlestick. Or about 1.5 minutes on this candlestick. That bull volume did slow down significantly over the last minute or two. Not much resistance on Litecoin, just psychological levels. Every dollar, we have a bit of coins stacked on the ask. Watching the order book of Litecoin while I watch Bitcoin's price action. So now Bitcoin's testing 19.5. Again, bull volume pretty solid on this recovery. And at this point, if we break the low of this reaction, it's a big red flag. 19,200 needs to hold for the rest of the evening on Bitcoin for the bulls to keep control. Same thing for Ethereum, this low. If we break 726.80 this evening, that's a clear bear signal. These lows are clearly established at this point. For Litecoin, it's 326.09. So that's the low of our initial bearish reaction. And if we are to break that from here, it is a clear bear signal in the short term. So that's now our benchmark on all three. And all three are directly correlated at this point. They're just different degrees of strength or weakness. So the volume on the last 5-minute candlestick for Bitcoin certainly did dry up, but it was still significant, almost matching the bear volume on the way down. Litecoin does not have a whole lot of bull support backing it up. Comparing the volume that we're seeing here, not really significant. We saw just as much volume back yesterday at the same time, actually. Literally the same time yesterday, we saw the same volume. Bitcoin bull still trying to bounce a bit. So not a lot of action at all. Nice and easy in terms of having a game plan and being able to stick to it and not having to make too much hectic decision making right in the heat of the moment. So now we're pulling back. That's the high of the bounce. Bitcoin resistance is 19,550. Litecoin seeing resistance at 328.56. And Ethereum resistance is 733.75. If we break these lows, big red flag short term. I'm going to be looking for a 2-minute equilibrium pattern to potentially play out. A little bit more downside on Litecoin, heading back to the low for Litecoin, 326.09. And I'm switching back to the 2-minute time frame now that the 5-minute RSI is not really relevant. So Bitcoin shaping up for an equilibrium pattern on the 2-minute time frame at this point. Here comes a key support test. It's on increasing bear volume, which is never a good sign. Bulls need to show up right here to defend a higher low. So the break of this tightening 2-minute pattern is going to give us very short-term direction. Still a ways for it to play out. Could be another 10 minutes or so. So heading into this week for stocks, the Canadian MJ sector is going to have a significant break in my opinion. Check out the Canadian MJ video I did on the YouTube channel, but we've got some clear tightening equilibrium patterns on the daily chart that have been playing out for almost a month on some of these names, and they are set to break likely this week. So certainly going to have some stock market action as well. And I'm speaking specifically to WEED and ACB with the really nice daily setups. So the higher low has been established on Bitcoin. That's now 19,308. So 19,308 support and 19,550 resistance. Ethereum is testing the high of its bounce at this point, trying to catch up after being the weakest heading into 6 p.m. Certainly way less volatility than we saw for the CBOE. I use Fidelity for my stock trading. So the bears have a slight favor right now on this pattern. Bitcoin bulls are not really proving much right now. Just seeing what it looks like on different time frames. We are still holding hourly higher lows. That's why that 19,127 level is so important. But we are heading back down towards that low. Here's a test of our low on Bitcoin. The fact that we just hit a lower low shifts odds of the break that we're going to see here in favor of the bears a bit. And we're seeing some bearish action pick up on Litecoin in response. So here we go. The bears are taking over now with a lot of volume. So that's a clear bear break. Litecoin is following along and Ethereum is following along as well. So the big three are correlated and we are bearish on this reaction. And here goes Litecoin dumping down. So it's certainly not a free fall dump, but it's a lower high and lower low pattern right now. Litecoin key support is 323.50. Bitcoin's not done for the bears, neither is Ethereum. So looking back at the 5-minute time frame, RSI still nowhere near oversold due to that short-term bounce. We can easily head down into the mid $18,000 range right now. Here comes 19,127 being tested, and we broke it by $2. Not a convincing break, but remember that bearish reversal head and shoulders pattern I drew? Here's the neckline being tested. Holding at this point. Pretty key test going on. More significant bull volume on this bounce attempt. This is the level where the bulls need to show up and break to higher lows and higher highs on the 2-minute time frame now if they're going to save this reaction. We held it. Well, technically we broke it by $2, but on a $19,500 instrument, that $2 is the same as a double bottom to me. We have a double bottom at that neckline support. We can maybe turn this guy to a happy face if the bulls can show up here and head back to the mid 19,000s. Anything for Bitcoin under 19,550 is just another lower high on this 2-minute time frame. And we'll see if stops get triggered if we break this neckline of support. And I would expect stops to get triggered at 19,000 psychological as well. And I'm on the verge of getting stopped out of Litecoin for small profit from my entry earlier this morning. Here's another test of this support coming up. Bounces are certainly short-lived. The Litecoin is still dumping down at the lows. Ethereum testing the lows, and Bitcoin close to testing the lows as well. So it's very clear at this point it is not a bullish reaction. The question is going to be how bearish of a reaction is it going to be, and should we be scouting for oversold bounces? The Litecoin is breaking down. There's a break of the higher lows. I am out of Litecoin. 5-minute RSI is approaching oversold on Litecoin. 15-minute RSI has a ways to go. Bitcoin has not broken the neckline just yet. And Ethereum is closing in on lower lows as well. Support is 726.80. Bitcoin support at this key level, not a whole lot. Not seeing any kind of big support walls. Decent support right around 19,000. So all hope is not lost if we break this level. We still have 19,000 psychological with a decent amount of coins on that ask, or on that bid, I should say. Still holding. And I might get into a Bitcoin position if we hold this neckline and break this 2-minute lower high pattern. And then I would exit, potentially on a break of either the neckline or of 19,000. Litecoin's 15-minute RSI is the closest to oversold. Bitcoin trying to break 19,300 here. Bulls might be able to save this support. So there's a break of the lower highs on the 2-minute time frame. I'm in a position. I will exit if we break this low. Let's do it, bulls. Litecoin trying to bounce. Ethereum not really seeing much bounce. Have to break 19,550. So again, just giving myself the opportunity, the risk to reward of the trade that I entered is pretty low risk because the area that would break for me to get stopped out is not too far away from where I entered the position. Bulls certainly are not out of the woods yet. I'll be a lot more comfortable if we can break 19,550. Ethereum still at the lows. Litecoin trying to bounce. And need some Bitcoin support to show up. There's certainly a lack of support on the bid. We don't have any of those bots that fill their nice double-digit Bitcoin bids and walk the price up. I'm going to stay on a little bit longer here. Again, not a lot of action. Almost looks like if you were to show me this action, it would look like any other normal day, really. I am 29 years old. Decent resistance on Bitcoin here at 19,360. And again, it's just a lack of bid support at this point for Bitcoin. No confidence for these bulls. Bitcoin headed back down to this neckline of support. I'm going to use 19,000 as my stop level. That's certainly enough risk to reward for me. We'll risk $250 on the Bitcoin move if I do stop out at 19. So that means I would have to see a $250 bull move to make that back, which I am confident to do some point tomorrow or the next day. Or perhaps even right after we break 19,000 support and flush down, if that is to occur and I exit, and make it right back on an oversold bounce. But at this point, we need to see increasing bull volume and some nice bids for this to change because it is still favoring the bears. You can see we've only seen some green candlesticks in a row back on the initial dump. Haven't seen two green 2-minute candlesticks in a row on Bitcoin over the last 12, 14 minutes. Litecoin heading down, testing the low. Litecoin is going to be the most oversold name if we all flush on all three of these names, with the 15-minute RSI and the 5-minute RSI already the lowest. Keeping in mind that none of these names are anywhere near hourly oversold RSI. Bitcoin order book still favors the bears with more resistance than support. Seems like the market has done a pretty good job of pricing things in over the last 2 days. That's why, when you see an event happen and you don't see a lot of volatility in price action, that means the market has priced it in successfully leading up to the event. We are currently not accepting members for the website because we blew up and we have too many people coming in, and it degrades the efficiency of the chat room when you have so many people joining and cluttering things up. We need to keep things efficient for a successful work environment, so we have closed membership for the time being because of that. And we don't know when we're going to open it back up. But courses and alerts certainly still ready to go, and there's no limit to those. Here comes Bitcoin heading back down to the neckline of support. And until we get breakthrough 19,000, we got about 300 coins on the bid. Another key battle at support as the bid support is trying to build here. Bulls definitely are well aware of this support level, just watching the order book. And we're looking to defend it here again, about to see a bounce. So it might be another 10, 15 minutes until we see a break of 19,550 or a bear break of 19,000. Order book still favoring the bears with the amount of resistance. We're going to have to start to see some bulls buying some dozens of Bitcoin market ask or market buy orders at the ask in order to change this momentum as we're heading right back down. Things are nice and contained. I'm going to stay on another 10 minutes here. All of the alert system information is on the website in terms of what exchanges we use and what coins we use. We've got 6 exchanges right now. We're certainly going to be adding more in the future. We're going to be adding more coins in the future, but we have both USD, Euro, we got Bitcoin pairings, and go down to the bottom and click indicators, and that's where you get little videos on all of the different indicators and how they are best used. So if you don't know what a price shear is, go down and click indicators, and that's going to give you some information on that. And that's crypto.chartguys.com for that website. So right now, if I were using that alert system, I would be looking for 15-minute oversold RSI alerts, and I would be looking for 15-minute and hourly inside bar signals, as well as 15-minute price shear signals. But because I'm sitting here staring at the screen, I don't need those at the moment. The potential head and shoulders is only a potential pattern until we break this neckline, which has not broken yet. So let's leave this guy at a nice neutral face at this point. So support held another time. 19,550 still on close watch. Bulls have a lot of work to do. Decent volume behind this 2-minute candlestick. Seeing a little bit of momentum shift. What stood out to me is as we approached this level on this last attempt, there was a lack of bid support, and it looked like we were going to fall right through it. And then as soon as we got close, bid support appeared out of nowhere, and we had double digits bid build on each other, defend that support, and that's why we're seeing another bounce here. But again, has to break 19,550 for me to be very comfortable in this position. Have a little wall at 19,004 to deal with. You can see the bulls just run out of momentum when they see a short-term bounce. The volume just doesn't pick up. The bulls want to see increasing bull volume and continuation, and they just run out of momentum, and then we run into a little wall, and then we head right back down. So it's a tightening pattern still, and we don't have the follow-through volume that the bulls are looking for yet. You can see every bounce has been declining bull volume. Need to see 2 green candlesticks in a row with increasing bull volume to have some confidence. And when you watch these bots on the bid and ask battle each other, it's almost like a scale I view it as a scale where you'll see them just play and read each other. They'll flash up, 5 resistance, 10 resistance in terms of the number of coins. Nice momentum now. All right, let's do 19,550. But that it's just they're reading each other and they're constantly interacting with each other. And if, more comes on the bid, then some removes from the ask and vice versa. It's just a positioning game. And it reminds me of, animals sizing each other up and bluffing each other. There's that increasing bull volume I was talking about. That's what we want to see for these bulls. If we see it one more candlestick here, that would be a great sign. One more increasing bull volume candlestick and a move over 19,550 would be wonderful, but order book's still favoring the bears. And when I say that, I just mean that there's more on the ask in the immediate future compared to the bid. We do have a little higher low, higher high pattern on this 2-minute chart over the past 20, 30 minutes or so. Just looking at how it looks on different time frames, we got a 15-minute inside bar forming. Now we need to see declining bear volume. XVG, let's see. Here's another one with a very clear support level. 457, 458, 456, 457. So a quadruple bottom. If 4-5 breaks, I'd give it a little wiggle room. The 455. If 455 breaks, that's a clear bear signal. 4-hour time frame looking to establish a higher low, nice low volume consolidation. And bulls want to see a break of 597. Back to Bitcoin, still consolidating. Litecoin saw a decent bounce from the lows. Bulls trying to turn things around there as well. Ethereum with a solid bounce. That's a nice $12 bounce on Ethereum, with significant volume behind it. Things are shifting a bit in order to favor the bulls. Neo from Bittrex. Hourly time frame, equilibrium pattern. We have our high, low of the pullback. Our lower high was at 72.83 and our higher low is at 64.28. And if you zoom into the 15-minute time frame, it'll show up more clearly. High, low, lower high, higher low, tightening range, clear stop levels, and clear resistances to break. So we're likely to see this staying in equilibrium pattern for another couple of hours and volume to continue to drop off before a break sometime. I'd say we'll see a break sometime in the next 2 to 4 hours. And that's just an educated guess. CME is a non-event. The market did a good job of pricing everything in. So I'm going to wrap things up here. What we are looking for from here is Bitcoin to break 19,550. And a bear break would be 19,125. And then we're watching 19,000 psychological. Let's see if we can get a higher high here. 19,460 is the high that we just hit, and the bulls are struggling at 19,445. As these bots are doing their positioning, their back and forth balancing act. $11 coins on the bid, 15 on the ask, 16, 19. So as the ask grows, the bid shrinks a bit. It's now 21 on the ask and 10 on the bid. Now back to 12 on the ask. So they're just positioning back and forth. And there's a bear break. So the ask started stacking more and more. The bid started dwindling to less and less. And then they pulled the bid because they saw that there was resistance and the resistance was not moving. So that just happens constantly over and over again in situations like this. And with my trading style these days, I would say 75% of my analysis is in the charts and 25% of my decision making on entering and exiting trades is just staring at the order book and watching the positioning of things. So things are getting boring. We'll see things in action and volume pick up a little bit sometime in the next half hour once this clear pattern breaks, whether the bulls take back over or we see a bear break of 19,000. So I'm going to head out for now. I appreciate you guys all tuning in. Check out crypto.chartguys.com. Check out the courses and membership currently closed. It will open at some point again in the future, just not in 2017. We know that much. So thanks again. I hope you all have a good rest of your Sunday night, and we will see you tomorrow.